All right. Today, we are looking at a requested topic here, and it's a good one. The topic is long-term side effects of the vaccines. So, a while ago, I did a reading about the vaccines, and it suggested that the danger that the vaccines would pose would actually be division, and that it wouldn't necessarily be something in the vaccine itself that would pose a huge danger to the population. A lot of things have changed since then, including how many vaccines they're trying to give to people. And I'm sure that as the variants show up, that the vaccines will shift a little bit themselves. So we're looking at long-term side effects of the vaccines. Now, keep in mind that it's bound to be the case, just like with any other thing in the world, that they will affect different people in different ways, right? So we're just looking at in general. In general, side effects, long term, specifically, side effects of the vaccines, not necessarily feeling sick, for a couple days after you get it, but we're talking about like 3 to 5 years down the road or whatever. Um, in general, the side effects. Oh, that one's where it's going. Okay. Okay. So, the root card, the Knight of Swords, and the Knight of Swords is the protector. So, that's a good root card when we're looking at the vaccines because theoretically they are the protector. So, the main card comes out as a Nine of Cups, and the Nine of Cups shows a shitload of different options. So, what we're going to do, we're going to put one on either side here. Oh, that is pretty weird. Okay, so we've got the Knight of Swords down here. We're going to start to take this apart. Nine of Cups. So, what really happens in the card, the person here summons the genie, and the genie's like, you can have whatever you want. So, what do you want? And then the person is like trying to figure out which thing to take, and they're kind of missing all of the opportunities because they're just watching all these cups spin around. So, in this specific case, I'm pretty sure that the Nine of Cups is just showing that there are a lot of different things that could happen. And maybe nothing would happen. Just like the person, if they don't take any of the cups, nothing will actually happen. They summon the genie, but this is just the summoning and it's not the actual thing. So, lots of different possibilities and maybe nothing. Now, leading up to it, we have the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups is coming up more and more in these readings, but the Knight of Cups is the spiritual seeker. So here, there's an energy of going outside of your comfort zone to find this thing that you are being called to. And I guess I could see how that would be true about someone who went to get a vaccine. We do have two knights showing up here. This is the protector, and this is the seeker. Now, as this moves forward, we get the hermit. Now, the hermit could be about isolation. The hermit, I'm going to move over here so that we get a little bit of a shadow on these cards because the sun is coming through the window. Anyway, I feel like the hermit is probably talking about some sort of quarantine. So it could just be some reason that people would have to isolate themselves, showing up over here. And let's see, I'm going to put down a card to find out why this turns into the hermit. Okay, so we get a Nine of Pentacles, and the Nine of Pentacles is abundance. This is basically the energy of a shopping trip. That that's super weird. I don't really see any direct link between these two. So we've got a Nine of Cups here, and then the Nine of Pentacles would be the reason that it would shift into the Hermit. Going from an emotional thing to a physical thing. Huh. Now, there might be something to this in the emotional energy shifting into physical energy. I actually was just having a conversation with someone when we were talking about this, but I've had massive, massive emotional spikes over the last few days. And apparently, this is common. This is pretty common. And it's unusual. It's like bigger emotional spikes. And for me, there's been a lot of anger and frustration, as well as just hopelessness and despair. But if I yell, it feels like that energy has to come out. And I have the distinct impression that if that energy does not come out, that I would get sick. And I feel like it's the same way for the crying. I'm not a crier. It's not something that usually would happen to me, but it's been happening a bunch. And when it happens, I'm pretty sure that if that energy doesn't come out, it would poison me. Now, that might be what's going on here. And it could be just this emotional whirlwind that eventually turns into something physical, um, like an illness, which would cause the quarantine. And this might be just feeling all alone as well. But whatever the symptoms are, if there are long term side effects from the vaccines, the people won't be alone because so many people have taken them. Now, I'm just going to put a card on the top, and this is going to be kind of an ultimate signifier like, is there a bumpy road ahead for that many people? And what we get is the Eight of Swords. So, the Eight of Swords, this again would kind of hint at a quarantine. This person is trapped in this tower, right? And this is also about anxiety. The moon here is fucking with the person's head and it's trying to get him to jump out the window. So if they do jump out the window, they land on all the swords, and it's like the long dark night. But here, the dawn is breaking, the sun is coming up, which would put an end to this. So this would be like a temporary trapped sort of phase. Now, all of this looks like there would probably be more quarantine, but because of the nature of the question, this would be a quarantine that would actually happen as a side effect of the vaccines themselves, um, which is interesting. But if looking at this, if you have had a number of the vaccines and you're having these emotional spikes, um, try to get as much of that out of your system as you can so it doesn't solidify like the cups turning into the pentacles. Because I think if it manifests in a physical way within you, it probably will not be a good thing. That would probably cause sickness in itself. So this is kind of cryptic as far as looking at the long-term effects. It looks like there will be more fucking quarantines in the future, but as far as this goes, and I feel like this is true whether you're vaccinated or not, if you're having these bizarre emotional spikes, try to vent that. Try to get as much of it out as you can. If that's crying or shouting or like, punching a thing. Hopefully, it's not a person or a brick wall because that will hurt you. But if you have to get this energy out, you really should do so because this emotional energy bottled up is going to turn into sickness in itself. If you have any comments on this, feel free to comment. And if you have any ideas or requests for different readings you would like to see, also leave that in the comments. And peace.